facing the police every single day.
An assistant police chief, his wife and his daughter helped their son escape to Mexico after he raped and reportedly robbed the neighbor's maid. Escape. FMR police chief gets no jail for helping convicted rapist's son escape to Mexico. Jack Burns, July 27, 2019. A California Highway Patrol assistant police chief, his wife, and their daughter all helped their son/brother, who was accused of raping their neighbor's maid, escape to Mexico. Despite the horrific nature of their family member's rape, Gail Scarber, Kyle Scarber, and daughter Crystal Reynoso received only probation for their crimes. The criminal parents, according to their plea deal, also are ordered to pay the state of California $10,000 in restitution and serve 500 hours of community service. Reynoso was also ordered to complete 250 hours of community service. None of them, however, will go to jail for helping a violent rapist flee the country. In 2012, Spencer Scarber was accused of raping his neighbor's maid. When detectives arrived to question the Scarbers, they invented a story saying their son had been kidnapped and they did not know where he was. During the investigation, it was learned the Scarbers not only knew where he was but helped him get there, otherwise known as aiding and abetting a fugitive, a felony crime. According to the Fresno Bee, detectives alleged that Gail and Crystal drove Spencer across the Mexican border where they helped him dye his hair, grow a goatee, and obtain fake identification. The entire ruse was an attempt to disguise himself in hopes he would not be found by U.S. authorities. Unfortunately for Spencer, authorities eventually took him back into custody, put him on trial, and a jury found him guilty. Due to the graphic nature of the rape, he was sentenced to over 30 years in prison. The family maintains Spencer did not receive a fair trial and they were forced to take action to protect the perpetrator, the cop's own son. The family's lawyer successfully helped the family get their felony convictions reduced to misdemeanors and not one of them was required to spend any amount of time in jail. Their probation period will be over in January of the coming year. Roger Nuttall seemed pleased with the outcome, telling reporters, "It's over. It has been a long and painful ordeal for the family and now they can try and put this behind them with only misdemeanor convictions." Scarber retired from the police force once he got into trouble with the very law he was required to uphold. He was drawing over $125K in retirement funds per year for his over 20 years of service and then asked to have his retirement switched to a form of disability which would allow him to avoid paying taxes on his income. Despite this conviction, he is still receiving that tax-free golden parachute. Reportedly, the convicted criminal's marriage did not survive the stress of the family's legal matters. The Spencers have filed for divorce. It's unfortunate and all too common for us here at TFTP to report on crimes being committed by family members of police officers, who, subsequently, get away with those crimes with the help of the police and prosecuting attorneys. For more information on police abuse of power, feel free to click here for our badge abuse archives.
Back so many times.
As Turnborn, the three had hoped the judge who made this deal with them would finalize it today, but that retired judge wasn't able to be there and they didn't want another one signing off on the sentence. A lot has changed in 7 years, and the one-time tight-knit family who prosecutors say conspired to help their son Spencer get out of a rape trial is no longer together. Gail petitioned for divorce last year from Kyle, but the punishment for the crime they all pleaded to has yet to be fully resolved.
He has done everything that was required of him to be able to be past this and get this behind him. And it's unfortunate and very frustrating that we couldn't do this today because we've had so so many hearings and we've been back so many times.
As terms of the plea agreement, Kyle and Gail had to complete 500 hours of community service. Friday, both of their attorneys said the work had been done. They were also ordered to pay $10,000 in restitution to cover the costs of the investigation.
He continues to dedicate his time and give time to the Cat Haven and to other organizations. So he completed his 500 hours and he had close to 800 actually.
The case is complicated since the judge who made the plea deal is retired and has already worked the maximum number of days per year allowed by a visiting judge. Unless special permission is granted, he may not be able to finish out the case. ABC 30 legal analyst Tony Capozzi said returning to the original judge is often preferred.
Since Judge Gallagher had heard this case before, understands the facts, and he gave an indication as to what he thought the sentence should be, and it's always best to go back to that judge.
The Scarbers say they're looking forward to moving on after a very long and difficult several years. And the Scarbers will return to court on July 19th. They are hoping to wrap up the case then once and for all. From the newsroom, Santaya Rose, ABC 30 Action News.
Hey Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.